Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome. So if you know anything about me, I love the Halo franchise of games, and I especially adore the Covenant faction. So here in front of us we have a CRS light cruiser. There's just something about the design and just shape and sculpting that Hansen's put into this ship, as well as the combination of colours that is just so beautiful. Now, the first thing that I'll say about Halo type ships is they're quite different in design between the two factions. The Covenant tend to have very round, very organic looking shapes, and it just adds to the element of them being an alien-like faction. But anyway, enough of that. Who are you fighting for anyway? Covenant or UNSC? Anyway, decide in the description below. But apart from that, let's have a quick look around this guy. So let's begin by looking at the front of the ship. Now, what I really like about this design at the front here is we've got these fin, or almost like gills, that's what they tend to remind me of, and you can see they're attached on at that angle with the rotors. We've also got a nice little viewing room there at the front. Now, as I go through this design, I'm going to dip into the interior every now and then just to show it to you a little bit quicker, rather than run around the corridors in this thing that are absolutely insane. You get so lost running around the various airlocks that if you don't own the ship or you don't been working on it, you find yourself lost very quickly. But we'll pop inside in a minute with the character. You can see we've got the medbay room up here at the front, and we'll just pop ourselves back out. So that's the medbay room, storage, cryopods, all in that front little passage. And as we have a look around the exterior here, some of the extra detail and that organic curve-like nature has been created by using a lot of the slope armor blocks, but we've also got some blast door blocks there as well. And you can see from a distance, they just create that extra little bit of detail and contrast. Now, as we look underneath here, you can see how the neck extends on. We've got this cool like ball structure down there. And this, I can only imagine it's possibly some sort of antenna that's connected up to that ball there. But this all leads into the Doom Ray, the Death Ray, or whatever you want to call it. Basically a giant laser that fires out the bottom of the ship and wipes out planets, bases, it's more designed to fly around on planets, this thing, and then just shoot a massive cluster of rockets out the bottom of here, because it is space engineered, unless you added one of the laser mods. So you can see that's all protected by this really nice housing, a lot of beautiful detailing going on here. You can see the curves. We'll have a look on top though before we get a bit carried away down there. So you can see on the top here we've got this almost like bug like shape that's been recessed. You can see the contrast and the use of shadowing and the two colors. So we've got the pink and we've also got the dark purple, so then the two colors contrast together and just create that really nice shape to look up. You can also see these little vent type inlets here, and if I just turn my light on here, you can see the detailing has been created by using some interior blocks as well as some random placement of blocks there. If we continue moving along here, you can see that they've added some detail by adding some support beams and just various different other features in here that just really make it stand out and pop and gives you that alien feel to it. So as we wrap ourselves underneath here and we turn our lights off, you'll catch a glimpse of two hangar bays on either side. But what I really want to show you is that really creepy green glow, and that's just been created by using LCD screens. So if we continue working around, you can see the whole shape of this thing. The round slope blocks have just been integrated into the armor design itself, and the curves work themselves down into the rear here. So we'll just switch the time of day so we can have a look at this in a little bit more detail. We've got these venting areas that I can only imagine is for the engine. You can see how these brown coloured textures just kind of contrast with the design. Not too sure what they are. I'm guessing it's some sort of venting. And as we move to the rear of the ship, it tucks itself back in with its absolutely fantastic curve, and then it narrows itself down to the rear. So as we actually have a look into this rear section, we've got this dark recess as well as these blue lights and engine thrusters that just really pop to the eye. Having a look on top here, we've got this also smaller type bug shape on here as well. You can see it's been recessed like the upper hull we've already looked at, but just the contrast of the colours and the shadow just makes this design look absolutely fantastic. So let's pop inside this ship. So if we enter in here through the side, through the hangar bay, we enter into this dark, gloomy, very alien light. You can see this ribbed sort of structure going across the ceiling. Now, what I will say with this ship, is, like I said a little bit earlier on, is if you do not know how to navigate this place, you will be finding yourself getting very lost. You can also see that there's lots of airlock doors here that were sealed up when I first put the ship into the world. And these are some of these side passages that just get really confusing. To access the bridge, you actually have to maneuver through one of these side passages. I just got myself so lost in there. It was a good 5 minutes before I found my way out. So as we continue down these central corridors that are actually large enough to put a ship in here, we actually enter into the compartment where the massive laser beam or rocket beam comes down below. And if we continue on through these side little shafts, we actually go into the medbay section that's just nicely tucked up in the front of the ship, like I showed you before. Through these various doors, we're now into the cryo pod sort of area, and it's on these like sort of shaft areas, a little bit alien-esque how the cryopods sit on this cylinder, and you can see the medbay is actually tucked down here. From a defense point, this ship really has it going. It just doesn't have enough turrets around the place, especially interior turrets, to hold itself, but the amount of airlocks and different sections, yeah, it's very securable. So we'll head ourselves back down, and the part I always get very lost in here is when I'm trying to navigate to the bridge. So as I dip in and out of these various areas, you can see we can go back to the laser room. But if we actually work our way up here, you'll see these corridors just lead on for miles. We can actually head through this shaft and it takes us to the bridge. Just look at the detail in this bridge area. We've got various support beams, little bits of lighting, various different colours going on, different pinks and purple colours, as well as them struts running across the top. And the detailing goes on to even the LCD panels where they've took the time to get the correct Halo type LCD panels that just look absolutely fantastic. And you can imagine piloting this ship from up here, the Covenant Commander. Down below, we've got the ship on the little projector boards. We've got this levitating sort of area with other bits of information feed out down here. We've also got the red ship for some reason there, and a Halo ring. Very, very cool indeed. Now, for the moment that you've been waiting for, how does this thing pilot? So there's my character. We're heading up the ramp to the control seat. Let's jump in. Let's see what we can do. So remember, this is a ground type ship by the look of a lot of the thrusters and how they're configured. You can see that there's a lot of atmospheric down there. It handles in space like you'd expect. It's extremely slow in accelerating. I wouldn't use the word light on this ship to describe it. The way it handles feels very, very heavy. You'd have to account for things going on before you actually got there. Acceleration is very well, it's very slow with the thrusters that we've got there. And you can see deacceleration is slow again, so it's almost like piloting a giant oil tanker or a ship. If the weapon had something like the Atlas laser in there, this would be quite devastating. A few more turrets aboard, a bit more thrust in some different directions, and it would be a definite functional ship. But for the looks alone, it meets that Halo sort of critique. 10 out of 10. Anyway, I'd like you guys to support the creators in the Space Engineers community. Check the link out down in the description. Give them a thumbs up. Let them know in the comment section what you think of it, and I will see you next time.